What happens if humanity colonizes Mars? For as long as we have looked at the night sky, Mars has fascinated us. With its reddish glow and its place as our planetary neighbor, it has been the subject of myths, dreams, and scientific speculation. Today, the idea of colonizing Mars is no longer confined to science fiction. Space agencies and private companies are actively planning missions that could one day carry humans to the Red Planet. But what would actually happen if humanity colonized Mars? The answer stretches across science, technology, society, and even philosophy. For such an event would mark one of the most transformative moments in human history. The journey would begin with the incredible challenge of simply getting there. Mars lies on average about 225 million kilometers from Earth, depending on orbital positions. A one-way trip could take between 6 and 9 months. For settlers, this journey would not be a simple adventure, but a dangerous voyage through deep space, exposing them to cosmic radiation, isolation, and technical risks. Unlike astronauts aboard the International Space Station, colonists would not be a short distance from home. They would be millions of kilometers away, reliant on technology in preparation to survive the crossing. Once they arrive, settlers would face a planet that is both familiar and alien. Mars has valleys, mountains, deserts, and polar ice caps, yet it is far from Earth-like. The atmosphere is thin, composed mostly of carbon dioxide and incapable of supporting human breathing. Temperatures average around minus 60 degrees Celsius, dropping even colder at night. The surface is bombarded by radiation because Mars lacks a strong magnetic field. Gravity is only about 38% of Earth's, meaning people would weigh less and their bodies could change over time. To live on Mars, humanity would need to create an artificial environment from scratch. The first settlements would likely consist of enclosed habitats, domes, or underground bases designed to protect colonists from the harsh environment. Air would need to be generated, perhaps by splitting carbon dioxide to release oxygen, or by transporting supplies from Earth. Water could be extracted from underground ice deposits or recycled from waste. Food production would be one of the greatest challenges, requiring hydroponic farms or genetically engineered crops adapted to Martian soil and conditions. These early habitats would be fragile, technological bubbles of Earth sustained by constant maintenance. Communication with Earth would be another limitation. Radio signals between Earth and Mars take anywhere from 3 to 20 minutes one way, depending on the planet's positions. This time, lag means settlers would not be able to have real-time conversations with people at home. Decisions, especially in emergencies, would have to be made independently. This communication gap would foster a sense of distance far greater than the physical space, forcing colonists to become self-reliant communities capable of solving problems without immediate help from Earth. Over time, colonization could transform both Mars and humanity itself. As technology improves, habitats might grow into larger settlements, complete with laboratories, schools, and industries. Entire cities could be built beneath protective domes, shining beacons of human civilization under the alien sky. Terraforming Mars to make it more Earth-like might even be attempted. Ideas for terraforming include releasing greenhouse gases to warm the planet, melting polar ice to release water, or building giant mirrors in orbit to reflect sunlight onto the surface. Such efforts could take centuries or millennia, but they represent the ultimate ambition of turning Mars into a world where future generations could walk outside without a spacesuit. Life on Mars would also reshape human culture. The settlers would live under conditions unlike any humans before them. Every resource would be precious, every mistake potentially fatal. This environment could foster values of cooperation, resilience, and innovation. Mars might become a society where teamwork and scientific knowledge are prized above all else. Over generations, Martian communities could develop their own identity, separate from Earth. Just as early colonists on Earth eventually formed independent nations, Martian settlers might come to see themselves as distinct people, with their own traditions, laws, and goals. Biologically, life on Mars could change humans in unexpected ways. Reduced gravity might affect bone density, muscle strength, and even the development of unborn children. Over generations, people born and raised on Mars could evolve traits adapted to the planet. They might be taller due to weaker gravity, or their physiology might adapt to different rhythms of day and night. Such changes could create a divergence between Earthlings and Martians, leading to questions about what it truly means to be human. Would Martians still consider Earth their home? Or would they see themselves as pioneers of a new branch of humanity? Economically, colonizing Mars could open new frontiers. The planet is rich in minerals, including iron, magnesium, and possibly rare metals. Mining operations could supply resources not only for Martian settlements, but also for industries back on Earth. Mars could become a hub of research and exploration, a stepping stone to the outer solar system. Asteroid mining, space tourism, and interplanetary trade could one day revolve around Martian infrastructure. However, such development would also raise questions about ownership, exploitation, and who has the right to claim parts of another planet. Politically, Mars colonization would challenge our current systems of governance. Would Martian colonies be ruled by Earth-based governments, or would they eventually demand independence? International agreements, such as the Outer Space Treaty, forbid nations from claiming celestial bodies, but enforcement in practice may prove difficult. If multiple countries and corporations establish colonies, disputes could arise. Mars might become a stage for new conflicts, or conversely, a model for global cooperation, where humanity works together beyond national borders. The way we handle the politics of colonization could define the future of interplanetary relations. There are also ethical questions. Should we colonize Mars if microbial life already exists there? Discovering even the simplest alien organisms would be one of the most profound scientific discoveries in history. Yet introducing Earth life could contaminate and possibly destroy that fragile ecosystem. Colonization forces us to consider whether exploration should always come first or whether preservation of alien life should take priority. Balancing human ambition with respect for extraterrestrial environments will be one of the greatest moral dilemmas of space exploration. Culturally, colonization would ignite new dreams and myths. Just as the frontier shaped American identity, Mars could become the new frontier of humanity. Literature, art, and philosophy would grapple with themes of isolation, survival, and the expansion of human destiny beyond Earth. The Martian perspective might influence how people see themselves, their planet, and their universe. It could inspire a sense of unity, reminding humanity that Earth is but one home among many, and that our species is capable of reaching beyond the cradle of its birth. Back on Earth, the impact of colonizing Mars would be equally profound. It would prove that humanity is not confined to a single planet, reducing the risk of extinction from global catastrophes. Knowing that life exists on two worlds would change our sense of vulnerability. At the same time, the enormous investment in technology, energy, and resources needed to sustain Martian colonies could spark debates about priorities. Some would argue that money should be spent on solving Earth's problems first, while others would insist that reaching Mars is essential for long-term survival. The tension between these perspectives would shape global policy for decades to come. Ultimately, colonizing Mars would be more than a scientific or technological achievement. It would be a turning point in human history. For the first time, humanity would become a multi-planetary species. This step would redefine our relationship with the cosmos, opening the door to future colonies on moons, asteroids, and perhaps even worlds beyond our solar system. It would mark the beginning of a new era, one in which Earth is no longer the sole center of human life. The story of Mars colonization is therefore not only about survival, but also about identity. Who are we when we leave our planet behind? What values will we carry to new worlds? And what new values will emerge there? The answers will shape the destiny of our species. Colonizing Mars would test our ingenuity, our unity, and our ethics, but it would also fulfill one of humanity's oldest dreams: to touch the stars and build a future beyond the horizon of Earth.